So hello everyone, today we'll be talking about Node.js because we are starting a new series of Node.js codes. So let's start with the first question, which is what is Node.js? Actually, Node.js is a server-side platform built on Google Chrome's JavaScript engine, specifically V8 engine, and it was developed by Ryan Dahl in 2009. So what is Node.js actually? It is a runtime, you can say. It is a server-side platform which is built by Google. Google Chrome's V8 engine is used in this, and what that V8 engine does is that it allows the JavaScript code, or Node.js is specifically a JavaScript framework, so you can use JavaScript on into them. Like Node.js is written in JavaScript, so we write JavaScript code in them. But normally JavaScript is used in the browsers. So there are some things we cannot perform in the browser, for example accessing file system, changing the files and other things. So for solving that problem, Google Chrome developed this Node.js, and Google Chrome developed V8 engine, which executes the JavaScript code outside the browser. So that is the takeaway. Node.js is a runtime which allows the JavaScript to run outside the browser, and V8 engine compiles that code into machine code or in the binary code that can be read by your computer or your local machine. Node.js is also open source and cross-platform runtime environment, and we can also write server-side application there, and also networking application which performs API calls and all. So Node.js applications are written in JavaScript, that I've already told you, and can be run within the Node.js and runtime on OS X, Microsoft Windows, or any machine, you can say. So Node.js is basically runtime environment that allows JavaScript code to run outside the browser using the V8 engine. V8 is a compiler kind of thing that compiles JavaScript code into the machine code. So we can build so many applications using Node.js. We'll be talking it about in the later. So what is the feature of Node.js that we should use it? Why should we use Node.js? So actually Node.js has many features. Some of them I have listed down, which is asynchronous and event driven. Asynchronous all means that it can stop one execution at one point and resume that after some time. That is asynchronous nature of Node.js. All API of Node.js library are asynchronous, so that is non-blocking. It essentially means a Node.js based server never waits for an API to return data. It will not wait for any API to return data. It can perform other tasks while the data is processed, or whatever kind of processing is happening to that API. It can perform other tasks as well. That is the asynchronous nature for the Node.js. So that helps in making it faster. The server moves to the next API after calling it, and a notification mechanism of events of Node.js helps the server to get a response from the previous API call. So it has a notification mechanism that gets the previous data from the API which was on the wait. So this is how it performs API calls and manages the API calls at the right time or after some time, you can say. So this is how. So you can uh, stop a API for a time, and you can work on another API call. So that is the work of Node.js actually. Right. This is the asynchronous nature of Node.js. It is very fast, as I have already told you. Like asynchronous nature of Node.js makes it faster. So that's why. Also, it uses Google Chrome's V8 engine, which is written in C++. So that is also a very good choice to make it faster. So Node.js library is very fast in code execution. That's why it executes code very faster, because V8 engine is written in C++, which is a system level language, you can say. It is closer to the system or the machine. Single threaded but highly scalable. It can perform only a single thread task at the time, so but it is scalable. Node.js uses single threaded model with event looping. Event mechanism helps the server to respond in a non-blocking way and makes the server highly scalable as opposed to traditional servers which create limited threads to handle requests. So event looping is that I have already explained you, that it can wait for one API to return data and it can perform other tasks or the processing, and after when the API is returning that data, so it can uh, show us or return that data again or go to that API again and manage that thread or that API call. So this is by using a notification or event mechanism. So it can target that API which it says that you should stop for some time, and I'll be coming back to you. Meanwhile, let me just see other processes which are running. So that's why event mechanism helps in making it scalable and faster. So Node.js uses single-threaded program, and the same program can provide service to much larger number of requests than traditional service like Apache HTTP server. So we can execute many threads or many programs can be run on Node.js single time because it uses the event mechanism or event looping. So it can stop if the data is not returned immediately and perform other tasks. So that is its feature. No buffering. Node.js application never buffer any data. It means it never loads the wait for that data. Simply the feature. These applications simply output the data in chunks. So it returns the chunks of the data. So that is one point of this. So it will not wait for all the code to return. It will just send you the code which is already processed. So it will send you that. So that's why its data comes in chunks. Where to use Node.js? So where should we use Node.js actually? So Node.js is not limited to building the application which are server side based. Okay, so we can also build IO bound applications which are input output, which requires input output. So it implies like what processors are there. So you can use that. You can also build that application using Node.js. Also, you can build data streaming applications, data intensive real time applications, DIRT, JSON APIs based applications which returns APIs just like JSON placeholder. Single page application, you can also build that in Node.js. So basically we mainly use Node.js for building web application which requires a server. So that's its nature. So we should use it for the backend to create a backend for the web applications. Just like PHP, it is similar to that. Node.js. It is not advisable. Where should not be used Node.js? We should not use it for highly intensive CPU based tasks, so which requires very much processing. So for that you should not use Node.js because Node.js is still a JavaScript library or framework. You can not perform a very high intensive task on the application when you're building an application. If it requires very highly intensive CPU task, so for that you can use the system, the language which is closer to the system, so just like C or C++ or Rust you can say. So that's why we should not use Node.js for CPU based applications or which requires high CPU consumption. So we should not use that. So Node.js, like this was the video about Node.js to explaining you a little bit about Node.js, that how it works actually. In the series, we'll be learning the actual development or the practical development in Node.js. We'll learn how to build the server and the backend for a normal application or normal web application. So we'll be learning in this series. So let's start the environment setup into the next video. We'll meet in the another video. Thank you for watching.